Hey, you're listening to episode 40 of the TA Pedals podcast. I'm Tristan.
And I'm Stephon.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. Feel like so we're recording like kind of later in the day, and I feel like my voice is like kind of dipped out towards the end of the day. So
yeah,
like I feel it just feels like there's like it's not, at its full potential.
Right. That's totally understandable.
Yeah.
It's hard talking all day. Got to get that rest.
Yeah.
So what's new? What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Any
exciting updates?
I mean, not really, but like, so like I've been messing around with like the recording stuff. Like that's kind of new to me. I think I've found the optimal settings that I like. So that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Can you walk me through that? Like, what's that look like?
Okay. So I have, my guitar running through my pedal board, through the amp, to the interface, to the computer, and where I record things. And then in the program, I have the impulse responses. Think I like the Fat Boy.
Yeah.
So like the Fat Boy impulse response, I like that. And then I'm also throwing a gate on there to minimize the random noises that come off the guitar.
Right. That Fat Boy is a Zilla cab, and then the speaker in that cab that you like, it's a Creamback, I think, right?
I don't know.
Did the impulse you were using, was it called something Creamback?
It is, Creamback 30 Fat Boy.
Yeah, so it's a Creamback speaker in a Zilla cab, in a Fat Boy cab.
I'll also I'm gonna mess around with maybe I might mess around with some compressors and see if that does anything to my liking.
Yeah, getting into that world is really exciting because there's just literally unlimited possibilities.
I can't wait. It's really nice. So like the next video that I plan on recording is going to sound super clean. I hope. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be pretty nice. That riff that I showed you earlier, I think that's what I'm going to use it for.
Nice.
I like that riff a lot, and I think it sounds really nice. You heard it over the phone call, so it sounds a lot better in person, of course.
Right. Yeah, I could hear the difference between the first impulse you were using and the second one that you started using today. Yeah. And it sounded over the phone even so much better. So I can't wait to hear it, like an actual export of something.
It's super, I don't know how to explain it. Like I would say like the high cuts cut off perfectly.
Right.
And so like that's it just works well with the Shark pedal. I haven't tried it with any other pedals, but it works perfectly with the Shark pedal.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this before, and there's like people approach the whole impulse response thing usually one of two ways. Some people will have a complete setup, an amp they like, pedals and all that, and then they'll go through the impulses and see which one, fits them the best. Or the other approach is to find an impulse you like and then dial the amp in to make the impulse sound good. So it's kind of a weird approach, but like I think it all depends on how you dial tones in, like what makes the most sense to you. And so I've always used this impulse from that same set of impulses that I sent you. The impulse I always use is called Fatty Fatty Fat Boy.
I've seen that one on there.
Hilarious.
So there's one.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
There's one on here that it's either Mellow and Roomy or Metal Allies that is just doesn't work at all.
It doesn't work at all.
Yeah, like it's like crackly. Like it kind of it like the signal kind of like this the recording signal, like when I play it back, it kind of is like it's either like crackly or it's like kind of like cutting in and out. And I of course, like if I decide I want to play with that, I'd have to mess with it a little bit, but just like loading it up and playing through it, that's the way it is, just regular. So
that's really weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was like an error when I exported it or something.
I don't know. All the other ones work just fine.
Right. Yeah. When I was exporting those for you, the program kept crashing.
Oh.
And so there's a potential issue there, but whatever.
Yeah.
But so kind of like, I guess like for me, when using impulse responses, it makes more sense to just like find a speaker that you like and a cab that you like and kind of play around with, I guess after you figure out like what you like, you can go and look for impulses of those particular speakers and cabs, because every setup is different and you're capturing essentially the whole chain. So it depends, on what microphone you're using, the microphone placement, the cable that the microphone, is connected with, the preamp that is going into it, the power amp that you're using, to capture that impulse response. So the whole chain really matters, but the speakers generally have the same character. And so you can find a speaker that you like and then go through and find different captures of that speaker from different, artists or manufacturers or, whatever, and see which one you like the best. And so I'm very familiar with that Fatty Fatty Fat Boy impulse, and I know how it sounds. And so anytime that I'm going to make a tone, I almost always, unless I'm trying to do something different, I reach for that impulse, and then I dial the amp in to get what I want out of the sound. But the character of that impulse response is something that I'm very much, fond of and familiar with. And so I kind of know what needs to be done. For example, it's a very dark sounding impulse. So I know if I use that impulse, I'm probably going to have to, either crank the treble and presence on an amp or, boost it with an EQ, like when I'm mixing or something.
Yeah.
So that's my approach with it, is just finding an impulse that I really like and sticking with it.
Yeah. I'm still kind of new to that. So, I'm going to, play with it, and, I probably will just like dabble here and there, but like if I find something I like, I'm probably just going to stick with that until I find something else I like.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You're in a really cool spot right now, like being new to all this, because it's the same thing as what I said whenever you started playing guitar again, is like when you're new to something, you don't really have any idea of what, people, how people define the rules of what you can and can't do and what you're supposed to do. You're just experimenting. And that's a really cool phase to be in, because once you're out of it and once you have, outside influence and knowledge from other people that you know look up to, it's hard to go back to that in a literal sense ignorance that you have in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think the stage that you're at, it's just the only thing that's important is to feel free to experiment and pay attention while you do it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's really fun.
I feel like that's a decision that I made, you know, moving like in the beginning. I was like, I don't want to try to learn other people's songs to try to get better. I want to learn how to play and then develop my own style while I'm doing that. Like, I feel like,
right.
Like I understand that there's lots of different ways to learn, and a lot of people like it's easier for other people to do certain things. But I feel like it might be harder for me to learn this way. But for me, as a person, I need to have my own feel and my own style, and I can't get that if I'm learning things from songs that already exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely understand that, and you're right. I think that approach is probably the harder one because one of the most frustrating things about learning guitar is the learning curve, the initial hump that you have to get over, because for so long you're just trying to, you know, play a few basic chords or get some sound out of the guitar so that you can start playing songs. And so for a lot of people, that's all they're trying to do is learn enough to be able to play a song.
Yeah.
And with you are doing something pretty uncommon, but I think it'll pay off in the long run by just kind of experimenting and figuring out the instrument on your own. And I actually think that that's a really good approach for, you know, someone that's our age, because you have enough life experience and knowledge and understanding and problem solving skills to be able to look at the instrument and figure it out. But as like a kid, that would be a really, really tough thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but when you grow up trying to, you know, like I did, like learning to play other people's songs and stuff, there were so many things that I saw my favorite artists do as a teenager that I didn't even know were possible on the guitar. And it would have, as a teenager, it would have taken me, you know, so much time to even realize that it was a possibility. But as an adult, yeah, I think it's a little bit different. And of course that varies from individual to individual, but yeah, I think your approach is really going to pay off.
Yeah. I'm hoping so. Yeah. I mean, like I have some things to work on for sure, but I feel like I've played with it enough to understand where everything is, and certain things that I do certain things, and the only way I learned how to do that is just by doing it. So
right,
just playing around and doing different stuff, and like I noticed that, like, hey, if I move my pick across the string like in this specific way, it makes this sound, and I know that, like, and that comes from just like playing around. Like, you're not trying to play a specific thing, you're just playing with it. It's like a toy.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, so this episode 40, is the first one to use the new artwork.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. And I'm actually, I had you send me the Photoshop file. Yeah. I'm glad that I did that, because I forgot that I need to be able to deconstruct the layers so that I can make the streaming video too. Because I don't want to keep the old, the old one or whatever with this new updated artwork, because it's so cool. So I'm going to be able to do that too.
Yeah. Also,
I'm excited about that.
Also, is there a way? Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but okay. So you know how like in our podcast videos, it has like the little wave in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you do that. I don't remember how you do that, but is there a circle one?
Yeah, I believe so.
Can we do like a circle in the center of the thing instead of the wave on the bottom?
I can probably do that. I'll just, I think it'll look really cool, but as long as it looks cool, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I think that I could actually do that in After Effects,
Okay.
like really easy.
So like my first thought was to have like the circle over my mouth and have like a little circle, like not like a circle, but like a kind of like a speaker looking situation coming out of your mouth. But then in order to do that, you'd have to separate the audio and all that kind of stuff to,
Right.
Yes. And that seems a little bit too complicated. So I think just the circle in the middle would be really cool.
Yeah. Do you want so I'm going to put the background of the artwork at like filling the frame.
Yeah.
And then I'll put our heads in the middle.
Yeah.
And then like below it'll say like episode whatever, or maybe somewhere where it does where it looks good. Do you want the circle, like the audio waveform, to be around our heads,
or it could be just like
or do you want
in between our heads? That way it looks like
Yes.
And you can even like I don't know how you can set up the layers, but if you can have like the background, then the audio thing, and then our heads, that way the audio thing kind of sits behind our heads a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do that.
All right, let's do that, because
that should be no issue.
That's gonna look sick.
But the artwork is so crazy.
Yeah. And okay, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but that's like the quickest I've ever done something that good. So
yeah, it's really good.
I'm pretty happy with it.
Like when you showed me, like you were telling me, that you wanted to, have new artwork and stuff, and you kind of explained to me like what you wanted to do. And I'm trying to remember what that was.
Well, I originally said that like we were going to just be like kind of like you stand like kind of like you behind me, and like me like doing my face that I have in the normal, like in the older videos that we made, like that kind of like screaming face. So like I had planned to do that with you standing behind me with just like a straight face. And then as I was tracing my face, I was like, man, like, it'd be cool if I just like had like a squid coming out of my mouth. And so I made it, and that's what happened.
Yeah. And then you showed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And I didn't know if you just had made it or if you were wanting to use it for the podcast. So I asked you, and you were like, yeah. And instantly I was like, oh, that means there's going to be one of me. I wonder what we can do. So we were chatting before work, and I was like, oh, what if I was like a cyborg or something, and an alien was in my head driving me? And so you made that, and it looks really cool. And then I was like, but what if I was shooting laser beams, like death rays, out of my eyes? And that's
like you're a real, like you're an actual robot that's being controlled by you.
Yeah.
And you know what? It kind of fits.
Well,
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, you.
So I was just gonna say, it fits. Like the artwork kind of fits what we typically talk about, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like we talk about cryptids and aliens and everything,
robots,
and also
AI. Yeah,
robots. You know how for like a while, like I was obsessed with talking about the Matrix,
Yeah.
and so I think that you know the artwork of me really fits something. It's like it's I feel like everything. It's important that everything we do and put out there is an expression of who we are and our interests. And you know, it's kind of funny because I was thinking about it the other day how we want to put forth this like professional, image and, whatever. But like, I feel like sometimes when you are strict on that, it sucks all the personality out of a company or project or whatever. And that's kind of who I am as a person. Like I like, even with my music, like I edit everything to the point where it's like robotic almost, because that's just part of who I am. I like perfection and cleanness and minimalist, ideas. And anyway, you have, given yourself the title of lead designer. And so there are, what am I trying to say? You've started taking the lead on a lot of stuff. And I feel like me chilling out on being strict on images and, trying to put everything in a box like I do.
Yeah.
Me chilling out on that has allowed you to come through more. And it's given what we're doing like a lot more character and stuff. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
Because you have a different style than I do, like a much different style. Well,
I appreciate that. I do enjoy the creative flexibility. It allows me to do some really cool stuff. Sometimes it's not that cool, but sometimes like I feel like a lot, like more than half of the things that I put forth turns out really, really cool.
Yeah. And anything creative, like when you're trying to do something that's high quality and, whatever, it's got to go through a process of refinement. Yeah. And that being the refinement of the idea and refinement of the execution of that idea as well. Normally, when someone puts forth a first draft of something, it's not that great. And see, that's where like I get a little nervous because like, I have like you always ask me what I think about things, and you ask for my opinions because we're partners, and that I'm not going to criticize something just because. But I always get scared that it's going to be like if I tell you what I think about something, or like what I would change or like changed or whatever, that I'm going to like offend you. And I know that that's not how you are, of course, but I guess my fear is like, because I know, especially with images and things like that, like the more progress you make, the harder it is to undo that progress. Yeah. So like when you're like, hey, what do you like? Or what do you want me to change? I'm very hesitant to say anything, because I'm like, I know if I say whatever, he's going to have to undo this amount of work.
Yeah, but like a lot of times, so like here's the thing though, is like, as long as it doesn't like completely change the core structure of something, then it's pretty, like you've seen me like on the fly work on that one thing you wanted me to change. And right. It's so as long as it doesn't change like the core, so like I would say like the overall thing, like if you wanted to change like, oh, I don't want an alien in my head anymore, that would mess me up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If I was like, oh, I don't like the alien thing,
but
make
like
me
changing
the
little shape of the one little thing, like that's pretty simple. I can throw it into Photoshop and color match and like use a brush and fix that stuff pretty easily. So like it's not that big a deal. Like little stuff like that is not that big a deal.
Right. And that's why I appreciate you as a partner, because I know that we have an understanding that both of us are just trying to do the best version of whatever we're doing possible. And we have to be honest with each other about what we like and don't like, or what needs to be changed. And we can't let it hurt our feelings or anything like that, or take it personally. And you and I are really good about that.
We gotta treat it like, work, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
It's work that we have to do.
Because even though it's creative, you know,
yeah,
it's still work.
That's right.
So, you wanted to talk about a certain topic today. Do you want to introduce that topic?
Yeah. I don't really know where I wanted to go with it, but like, I kind of wanted to talk about like superpowers and stuff.
Heck yeah. I've been thinking about that ever since you brought it up. And there's a couple things that I want to talk about. If you want, I can lead it off and then we can just go from there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing I want to know is, if you had a superpower, just one, what would you pick?
If I had just one, if I could choose any superpower, man, it's so hard. I haven't even thought about it. I guess, I think so. Like, I don't know what the power is called per se, but I know what I would want to do. So like, you know how you can like, there's been, I don't remember where I seen it at, but I know there was like somebody I seen where they can touch someone and make them feel whatever, like whatever feeling that they decided to make that person feel. Like I think that's
empathy.
that's the like superpower that I would want. Yeah,
it's like being able to project empathy.
Well, I mean, not necessarily empathy, but like if I wanted this person to be sad, I would, you know, like I'd think like I want that person to be sad, or if I wanted him to feel happy, or if I want him to feel angry, or if I want him to feel just, you know, whatever feeling that I felt like that person deserves to feel right now. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's the superpower I'd like to have.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel like I could do a lot of good with that. That's all. And personally. Like,
oh, right.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Like someone, like if I'm
that seems like something you would want to do.
Yeah. I mean, if I have a friend that's feeling sad, I can just be like, put my hand on their shoulder and be like, I want you to just feel happy. And, you know, I think that's what I would like to do.
You know, even if you don't have a superpower, that might be something that could work.
Yeah.
You get a friend that's feeling sad, just put your hand on their shoulder and say, hey, it's going to be all right.
You know, a lot of times I feel like that does help.
It really does.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't, but
what about
the situation's so bad?
What about you?
Me?
Yeah. What superhero power would you like?
I would absolutely I guess I would choose invisibility.
Invisibility?
Yeah, I think I'd choose invisibility.
Is that invisibility in the sense of like you can turn yourself invisible, or invisibility like anything that you're touching can turn invisible?
Kind of like the Invisible Woman, which I think this is one of her powers. I think anything, like she can make herself invisible, and anything she's touching, she can make invisible as well.
I don't.
I'm not positive about that.
I don't think that anything she touches turns invisible. I think she just has a special, like if you remember, like when she first got her power, she had to be naked.
Right.
And then they made her a special suit that went transparent whenever she used her powers. So I don't think she has the ability to, like, anything that she touches turns invisible.
I just Googled it and she does.
Oh, maybe that's like a power she develops later on.
Yeah. It says she later takes the name Invisible Woman, meaning Sue Storm, after an encounter with Psycho Man that changes her. Sue Richards, Sue Storm. Are there? I think there's different invisible women. Anyway, it says she can render herself wholly or partially invisible at will. She can also render other people or objects invisible, affecting up to 40,000 cubic feet of volume.
That's crazy. So that's the power that you want.
Yeah, that's what I'd want. So that way I could escape a sketchy situation, or like rob a bank and have all the money I need, or, you know, it would come in handy for a lot of different things.
Yeah. I think so. Like, you can, what would you use that for? Like, you can't, like, it's not like if you turn a door invisible, that means you can walk through it, you know?
Right.
Like, the door's still there, you just can't see it. But
right,
you could turn a door invisible and watch other people try to walk into it.
Yeah. So for my bank robbery idea, I would have to hide out in the bank until they close.
Yeah.
And I'd have to, like, be looking over someone's shoulder while they type in the key to the vault. But then, like, once everyone's gone, you know, just make all the money invisible, carry it out. I'm good to go.
But wouldn't it make more sense if you did it during hours? Because they keep, like, most banks just keep the vault open during hours. And you could just, like, like, you're invisible, so no one's going to see you. So you could literally just walk in there.
But what if I bump into someone?
I don't know. No one's going to know you have that, like, there's an invisible person there.
They would. They might if they bump into me.
I don't know what that was, but it kind of touched me.
Yeah, but I think that's what I would probably choose. Have you seen the show that Stan Lee did a long time ago called Stan Lee's Superhumans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some of it. I wouldn't say I've seen the whole thing.
I watched an episode not too long ago about this guy they call Hammerhead. Have you seen him?
Is he the guy that like can, like, pretty much break anything with his head?
So what they did was they put bricks on his head and then they dropped a bowling ball on top of the bricks and broke them.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, like, you know, so he's real tough. He's got a strong neck. Like, that's pretty cool. But, you know, I wanted to see him hammer a nail in with his head. Oh, yeah. And then he did that too. Then he did it. And I was like, oh crap. Okay.
There was the guy who, like, had, like, I guess the best way to describe him, because it's been a long time since I've seen it. I don't remember, like, how, like, what they called the power or anything like that. But there was a guy who could conduct electricity or something like that. Like,
I think I saw that.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure that I saw that one.
Yeah, like he could like have power run through his body and then, like, light up a light bulb with a different hand or something like that. And then there was another guy who was, like, magnetic or something. Yeah.
I saw one of the episodes, and I'm very vaguely remembering this, but he could hear music, like, one time and then play it back perfectly on the piano.
Yeah. That guy is, I think he was an autistic guy, right?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that because I couldn't remember if that was accurate or not. But
Yeah,
yes.
I'm pretty sure that's so like I heard about him way before that show came out. He had, I don't remember where I seen it, but it was either on the news or it was on a YouTube video or something. But I had seen him before that show came out. Yeah, he's autistic. I think he's nonverbal, but like he can hear anything and be able to play it on the piano.
Yeah, it was nuts because they played him some complicated piece of music
Yeah.
that he had never heard, and he played it like it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It's crazy.
I think. Have you ever heard of that guy who ate a bunch of metal? He ate like a bunch of different objects and stuff.
I mean, I've heard of people doing that. I don't know if I know the specific person you're talking about, but I've heard of people doing stuff like that.
I just looked him up on Wikipedia. His name was Michael Lotito. He was born in France, and I'm going to read you a list of things that he ate. Are you ready for this? Because this has to be a superpower, right?
Yeah.
Like, it has to. He ate 45 door hinges, 18 bicycles, 15 shopping carts, 7 TV sets, 6 chandeliers, 2 beds, a pair of skis, 1 computer, a water bed full of water, 500 meters of steel chain at once, a coffin with handles, assorted razors and bolts, 1 Cessna 150 light aircraft, and then get this. So he holds a Guinness world record. He ate the award plaque.
Okay. Now, I'm like, does he eat it like the traditional, like bite it, chew it, swallow it, or is there some?
I doubt he's chewing any of this. And I would imagine, yeah, he probably tears it or he cuts it up somehow.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what they say?
No.
How do you eat an aircraft? One bite at a time.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but
normally it's elephant. How do you eat an elephant?
Oh.
But this guy ate an airplane, so
He ate an airplane.
he did. I don't even know what it. Okay, so a Cessna 150 is like a biplane. You know those like
Yeah.
1 or 2 seater planes? Yeah, he ate one of those.
Oh my Lord. I don't know. That's crazy. Like, yeah. There's people out here thinking that evolution doesn't exist. If that ain't a,
Well, he didn't digest them.
well, I wouldn't imagine so, but still, like, to be able, like, I mean, I don't mean specifically this guy. Like, I wasn't specifically referring to this guy, but there's people out there that are developing like these awesome abilities, and the only explanation of why they're able to do that is through evolution. Like what?
I just read in this Wikipedia article. I stand corrected, and I don't even understand this. It says Lotito also had digestive juices that were unusually powerful, meaning that he could digest the unusual materials.
Okay, so he was digesting them.
Yeah, he was digesting everything he ate. And it says it also meant that soft foods like bananas, hard-boiled eggs made him sick.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If that ain't evolution, I don't know what is.
how did he not get heavy metal poisoning?
Because he's more heavy, or he's more metal than heavy metal.
Well, I mean, like, even like, so I don't know how much do you know about Alzheimer's?
Not enough to talk about it.
Okay, well, I could be wrong about this, but I seem to remember Alzheimer's being caused by some sort of plaque buildup in the brain, and I believe that some of the plaque has been traced to like metals that are in our diets and the things that we use, like deodorants having aluminum in it. And it builds up in the brain and causes Alzheimer's, or could be a cause of Alzheimer's. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember seeing something about that. So that's what I was confused about. Like, as if he's eating all this metal, you would think that he would have some sort of heavy metal poisoning, because most metals in high enough doses, even iron, can be toxic.
Well, maybe he's not. Maybe it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. Maybe he's not ingesting the metal, or is that the right word to use? Like, he's not absorbing the metal.
No.
He's just eating it, digesting it, and pooping it out.
Oh, so you think maybe his body's not actually absorbing it.
Yeah.
It's just breaking it down and then passing it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
I mean, that would almost have to be the case.
He has to have some other form of nutrition besides eating metal.
Yeah. I mean, you would think, but maybe it just has to be like maybe he eats bones for breakfast or something.
Maybe he just takes a lot of vitamins. Who knows?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but he's dead now.
Oh.
Also. It says natural causes. He passed away on June 25th of 2007. It says natural causes, and I'm like, okay. Could be.
I mean, how old was he?
Let's see. He died in 2007. He was born in 1950, so he was 57.
I mean,
57 years old.
I mean, you could die of natural causes at 57 years old. Okay.
Yeah. It says he claimed not to suffer ill effects from the consumption, even though it was considered poisonous. It says he preceded it with mineral oil.
It's probably a good thing. You gotta keep that metal lubricated so it doesn't rust inside your body. So just to go back just a little bit, this is just a little funny. Okay. Just a little bit. All right. So I Googled what causes Alzheimer, and then what popped up says the causes probably include a combination of age-related changes in the brain, along with genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors.
So everything.
Pretty much anything. Yeah. But I just think it's funny because
genetics,
it says,
diet, environment.
Yeah, like anything that happens.
Probably.
To you. I just think it's funny because it says the causes probably include.
Yeah, that's a funny way of saying that no one really knows. And I'm actually pretty sure that some company just released some new medication for the treatment of Alzheimer's, but there's no cure yet. But it is a terrible, terrible disease. Not fun at all. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
Yeah. I know that there's like they do, like if someone is suspects that they're that they might have Alzheimer's, they do like a test for a specific gene in your DNA that shows that you have Alzheimer's, which doesn't make sense if it's not genetic. Like if it's not if it's a gene in your DNA that causes you to have Alzheimer's, then we should be able to find that gene like a lot sooner in life, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are certain predictors or genetic markers that would indicate, like a higher likelihood of developing any disease. But I think that it's still so uncertain what triggers the development of the disease, that they can't be sure if just the genetic marker alone is enough to, put you at significant risk.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear me bring this full circle?
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth, the guy who plays Thor,
Yeah.
the superhero.
I've never met him, but I know who he is.
Well, he has decided that he is going to, I think, take a break from acting for a little while because he found out that he's at high risk for Alzheimer's.
Okay.
So,
for what reason?
Yeah,
though?
best wishes to him. He seems like an awesome guy.
Yeah, for sure. But like, for what reason? Like, what reason do they have to believe that he's at high risk? Is it because he's...
it says his genetic makeup includes 2 copies of the gene APOE4, one from his mother, the other from his father,
Okay.
Which studies have linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's. It says 1 in 4 people carry a single copy of the gene, but only 2 to 3% of the population have both.
Okay, so he's
and I
not
think he's getting a little bit older, and he's just worried.
Yeah, he's not really at risk. Like it's like a 99% chance that he's gonna get it some point in his life.
I would say that we're all at risk, but he's way more at risk than most other people, twice as likely, probably. Yeah. But genetics are not as simple as 1 gene, 2 gene. It doubles it. It could be, more than double the likelihood. But point is he saw a doctor and they said that he was at risk, so he's starting to take some precautions.
Okay. Well, that sucks.
I know. It's like Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and Chris Evans is Captain America. He's Thor. Like, I don't, if they were to replace him, like if he didn't want to do it anymore, it would be completely understandable. But I'm like, man, after all these years and after his great performances as Thor, who could replace that?
Well, I think at this point, like if they, like, I think the main superheroes of Marvel, like the Avengers, the main Avengers or whatever, I think that all of them are all done. So like if
they are.
Yeah, so like if we bring up Avengers at any point in time in the future, it's going to be like an alternate reality or alternate universe situation, and it's going to be different people anyway.
Definitely.
So, yeah, like it's going to suck that he's not Thor anymore, but he wasn't going to be Thor anymore anyway, so.
Yeah, true. I think they should just get Natalie Portman to do it again. She should be like the official new Thor. But I guess that's just my opinion. I don't know.
I mean I agree, but at the same time. Like, I think the best direction, if they were going to take one, is to just bring up a alternate universe or something like that.
I agree.
Because you gotta replace everyone, not just one person.
True. And actors don't live forever, so. Do you have anything else you'd like to talk about, or you ready to wrap this thing up?
I guess I'm okay with being done.
Okay, cool. I guess we should thank everyone or something for listening.
Oh yeah. We should.
Okay, here I go. Thank you for listening to episode 40 of the TA Pedals podcast. We have enjoyed bringing this content to you and look forward to your presence, knowing that you're listening on your drive to work, your morning commute, while you're cooking breakfast, or wherever you may be right now. Thank you for your continued support, and we will talk to you on the next episode of the TA Pedals podcast.
That was great.
Thank you.
I almost brought a tear to my eye. You should have said, "I'm Tristan, and I'll see you later." Anyway,
man, I'll get my sign off right one of these days.
Anyway, I'm Stephon. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.